problem solving through programming in C, NPTEL session. I am Rupesh Kumar, and we'll be going through this tutorial session for the next 2 hours. So let's wait for a few more minutes so that others can join, and then we'll start the session. So anyone just confirm if my screen is visible. I have shared my screen, computer screen, and I am audible. Just type in the chat box to confirm this. Anyone, please confirm. Great. So let's wait for a few more minutes so that everyone can join. Yes, the recordings will be visible to you. Shit. So, hi everyone, can you just confirm if my screen is visible? Great. So let's start this session. So this is the second tutorial session that I'm taking for this semester in this course, and someone is asking like where the recordings will be shared. I will share with the recordings with the PMRF team, and the PMRF team will share those recordings with you guys. Fine. Fine. Anyone do you have any issues? Type in the chat box. Fine. So if you so the way we will be conducting this session is I will be explaining problems. I have a set of problems that I want to share with you guys. I will solve these problems with you one by one. Someone is saying no one can. One of the students is saying that they can't hear my voice. If this is true, I mean, if this is not true, then please inform me. Anyone? Am I audible? Great. So it seems I'm audible and there are no issues. Fine. So yeah, I'll be solving these problems which for you guys. And with each problem, I expect you guys to get involved with the problem. So and we solve them uh, so that we so basically as I so we already have learned about the topics that we will be covering in this tutorial session in the NPTEL lecture video for this week. So I believe that most of you will be able to solve this problem, but still if you face any difficulties, I am here for you guys. So the way I will be conducting these sessions would be I will be I will be reading out one question, and then I will be answering that question. I will be asking you guys for the answer, and then I will be correcting, providing you the correct answer. And then if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Fine. All the queries that you want to ask me will be done through the chat box on Microsoft Teams. So if you face any technical difficulties, if you want me to answer something, if you want me to elaborate on some topic that I'm covering in this session, then you have to type in the chat box in the Teams application. Fine. And if any place you feel there is some technical issue, then you please type in the chat box as soon as possible. Like if my screen is not visible or it's frozen or my voice is not audible, you have to type in the chat box. Fine. So most of you are asking how can we get access to the previous class recording? The recording has been shared with the NPTEL team, and the NPTEL team must share the recording with you guys. Fine. And someone is saying screen is not visible. I believe that there is some network issue on your side. Fine. Yeah, all the links will be shared by the NPTEL team. I don't manage them, so yeah, I can't help in that scenario. Yeah, great. So let's start the session. So the first problem is which of the following header files is not a standard C library? So I hope every one of you know about the header files. Header files are the library files containing library functions in them, and you import them in your C program to access various inbuilt functions. So stdlib is a standard library for C that provides many standard functions. Math.h contains mathematical functions such as square root, floor, and C, and so on. Then IOStream is not a C library, not a C header file. And stdioh is a standard input IO and a standard input output header file that contains the printf and scanf functions that are used for doing standard IO input output in your program. Fine. Option C, R dot H is not a C and the library. Fine. Someone is asking what is the medium of sharing previous videos via email or something else. So that the links will be shared to you guys by the NPTEL team, and it seems that a lot of students watch these recorded videos, basically access these videos. So I believe the links should be broadcasted to you guys by somehow by the NPTEL team. So I don't know where they are broadcasting the links, but the links are broadcasted by them. So someone is asking what are the benefits of this course. So basically, this course helps you to get acquainted with this programming in C language. So if you get if you are able to do programming in C language, then yeah, so basically it gives you an idea of how to solve real world problems using programming. So as you will see in this session, we will be solving some programming problems where we'll be taking some basic problems from mathematics literature and then we will be solving them via some programs on to see. So this course will help you to get acquainted with how to write programs to that can be solved by a computer. That's it. So let's go on to the next question. What is the primary use of the printf function? Anyone? Please answer the question. Okay, so to read input from the user, no. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is no, printf is not used for reading input. Uh, and not it's not useful for reading input from the user. It's not used to perform mathematical calculations. It is not used to allocate memory dynamically. So it is used to display output to the screen. Option C, display output on the screen. Fine. Someone is asking, and someone is asking, sir, I have joined the course now. I have to start with week 1. Can I attend this lecture? Feel free to attend this lecture. There are no issues in that. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Saket, for telling everyone to not spam the chat box. What is the purpose of return statement in C? Anyone? So to terminate a loop, I mean, yes, it can be used in a way that you will see in future, but no. To end a program, no. To exit a function and return a value, yes. To declare a variable, no. So, I mean, return can be used for many of these operations. To be frank, in a way. So, return is mostly used to exit a function and return a value. Most of the time, return is used for that purpose. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubt? Please type in the chat box. Great. So, what will be the output of the program given below? So let's see it, look at the program and then try to solve it. So by now, how many of you are familiar with programming in C? How many of you are able to write program? How many of you are able to write programs? So I mean, is someone who is not able to write C programs? So I will give you a brief introduction to writing programs in C, and then we will be attending to these problems. Meanwhile, someone is asking what is the usage of the library standard stdlib.h. So I mean, you can we can see what is the usage. So for okay, it's standard library that contains standard functions in C++ that you can use. So you can Google search on the internet to understand the usage of uh, std library. Fine. So let's start with writing C programs. Yeah, I will be increasing the screen size. Preferences. Of everyone, can you see my terminal? Yeah, great. So the way I will be conducting these tutorial sessions is I'm using a Ubuntu system. So Linux comes with GCC pre-installed in it. So what is GCC? So let's look at GCC. And yeah, GCC. So GCC is a GNU compiler collection. Basically, GCC is the C compiler that takes in your C program, the code written in your C source files, then compiles them, and then returns an executables. So I hope every one of you is familiar with the concept of compilation. So basically, a set of stages that converts turns a source code into an executable object code. So let's look into this. So I will write a simple C program and then I will show you guys how to solve this program. So let's say I create a file, um, let's say example.c. So any program that you write in the C programming language and you want to use the GCC compiler, you have to choose a file name that can be any valid name, file name. For example, in this case, I'm using the file name example and followed by an extension C. So example.c. Fine. So all the files, let's say file name is alpha.c. Fine. This is the convention. So let's open up my text file example.c. So everyone, can you see my screen? Fine. So so the first line I'm writing in my C program is hashtag include stdio.h. Is this visible? Anyone? Is the text visible? Fine. So yeah, so this is a standard input output header library that is required for C program. So I will be using standard in IO operations to do this. Then the next important thing that comes for any C program is the main function of a program. So let me do one thing, then I will start explanations. So let us see the flow of how it works. So so let's go how the execution is, how the execution works. So someone is saying my screen share is lagging. Now it's fine. Please confirm. So so function of the C program. Fine, everyone. Is should this should be visible to you? Yeah. So let me explain this. The first thing you do is the first step in this is what you do. Create a text file named any name .txt. So basically you can use any valid file name. You can use any file name and then followed by a followed by the extension .c. Fine. Followed by the extension C, any name .c. And then what you have to do, fine. So in the file any name .c, write your C program. And what should the C program contain? So what are the contents required for the C programs? Let us see. It should contain, so let's say this is our text file, fine, any name.c. So in this file, there should be a function named main. So there should be a main function, and this is the necessary condition for any C program. Fine. If you are writing, creating some executable C program, then the main function is required. It is always required. Okay. Main function is required by default. Fine. So anything you want to execute by your C program, let's say you want your C program to do something, then you need to define this main function. And inside this main function, you can define various other things. And then what you do after this, what you do, You, after this step, so you created a file, write your C program in this. Inside the main function, you define some operations. And then what you do, you compile using GCC. Fine. GCC is a standard C compiler that is available in C, Linux by default, Linux and Unix systems. But if you are using Windows systems, then you can look onto the resources on the internet. MinGW is very popular resource for using the GCC compiler. So for compiling C programs on Windows systems, fine. So I hope every one of you will be able to find a way to write and compile and run these C programs, fine. If you are using Unix or Linux, you already have GCC inbuilt. If you don't have, if you have a Windows machine, look for the MinGW, fine. Then after compiling, what you do, it generates an executable is generated, run that executable. That's it. This is how you write a C program and then compile it and run it. So these are the steps involved. I hope everyone is now familiar with this. So let's get back to our C program. Fine. So the window that you are seeing on my screen is called a terminal in Linux and Unix systems. And for Windows, you can find the alternative as command prompt window or a PowerShell window. Fine. These applications are used mm, for communicating with the OS shell of your operating system. And for you, as I am using Linux, I am using the terminal here. Now I have created my file named example.c. Fine. Everyone, can you see this file? So ls is a Linux command, Unix command to list all the files present in the given directory. So you can find this example file, everyone. Fine. So now let us open up the example.c. This is a text file. And as I said, for every C program, the main function is necessarily required. Fine. So let's write our main function. And so how functions are defined in C language? So let's see. Okay. So let's write functions in C. So this is just try to understand that why I'm writing int main right now. The functions are not that important at this stage right now. Fine. So how do you write functions? So basically, let's write them. So return type followed by a, so let's say int main, and then this, and then we have this function block, for example. Anyone, everyone, can you see this function block that I have displayed on my screen? So this is how you write any function definition. So there are other details also that are involved, but right now let's just look at the main function, how I am writing the main function for my first C program. Fine. So the first letter that you see here, this int term, this represents the data type. So int is a data type. Data type. So data type. So basically this it tells that the function that I'm declaring. So the function that I'm declaring will be returning a value which will belong to the int data type. So some of you are commenting that can you get back to solving problems, sir? So I believe you know this thing, but there are others also who are in the tutorial and they want to understand the process of writing C programs. So I will be explaining them here. So I can't do any selective bias. So if someone doesn't know, they need to know so that they can continue with us. So please be patient for that for some time. Fine. So the int declare term token here just tells that our function will be returning some data of type int. Then I'm writing the function name. The second term is this function name. Fine. So name of the function. Fine. And then this small brackets define whether your function has some argument or not. So this is required for every function. And these curlies open and close are this is the function block basically. So let me edit this. Fine. And then this is the function block where you write your code, any code that function block. Fine. You write your code in this block and then this function gets executed. So these curly brackets are required by every these are basically of block specifiers. They specify the so basically they specify the contents in any function or other tokens in C programming language that involve blocked operations. Fine. So this is how you write your first program. So let me write this. So you can see this program. This file contains I have created a function int main. And then since I'm saying I'm writing a function that will return integer, I'm just using the return statement to return some value. I'm returning 0. Fine. And then this is the function block defined by these curly braces, and this is closed. And this is our first C program. So let's go ahead and compile our first program. So it is GCC, the syntax for compiling your C programs, the C text files, .c text files in Linux and Unix is GCC space file name .c. And then you have to give the output name. So what should be the file name of the what should be the output of the output of your output name of your output executable. You can use the -o flag, and then let's say I am saying example. The executable name should be example. Now after running this compiler statement, you will see that there is a file named example created here. Everyone, can you see this example file has been created after I have compiled my program? Now to run this compile program, you have to use the keyword dot front slash and then executable name. So a dot front slash example. And now you can see I have simply successfully compiled a C program and run the executable file. However, we cannot observe any output here. The reason we are not getting any output here because we are doing no task in this example program. Fine. Now let's go ahead and create our first program. Let's say hello world.c. So let's open up this file, hello world.c. Now again, let's declare the basics that are required by any C program, executable program. Now I want to print something from the main function. And for printing stuff, what you need is you need the standard library functions printf for printing anything onto the display screen, which is defined in the header file stdio.h. Fine. So let us include this standard input output library by using the syntax hashtag include stdio.h. And then what I can do, I can use the function printf to print output onto the screen. So I have to type in hello world here. So basically, this function printf takes a string argument. So I have passed in a basically a sequence of characters as argument that you will be seeing in the next tutorials maybe. And then I'm printing the term hello world. Then everyone, are you following this? There is a semicolon at the end of every line. Anyone, are you following this tutorial? Fine. So this semicolon is known as the terminator. Fine. So it is the terminator. So it is required by at the end of every execution, every line in C program, language. Fine. So like I have defined this printf statement and written some, pass some argument to it. Then I'm ending the line by using the terminator. Fine, everyone. Yeah. Now I return hello world, and that let's go ahead and compile our program gcc hello world dot c hyphen o hello world. Now you will see there is a file created named hello world. Let's go ahead and run it. Hello world, and you can see, so us you can see the output. We get an output on our screen that says hello world. Everyone, can you see this? Great. So this is how you write basic C program that prints hello world. One small minute detail here, I'm adding another term backslash n after hello world term in the printf function. Why this is useful? So backslash n is a line change character in C. So whenever you want your compiler to change a line and then print something, you can use backslash n. Fine. Fine. So now you can see hello world comes in another line. So now let's get back to our problems. So what will be the output of the following program below, given below? So now you understand what is the meaning of this hashtag include stdio.h. So basically our program is including the standard IO library. Then we are declaring the function main. So int main. And then we start the function block with this opening curly. And then I'm taking a variable a and assigning a value 9 to it. And then what we are doing, our program is printing using the printf statement to print the value of a and then return 0 to exit the main function, and then closing bracket to define that our program has the function block is over. Fine. So another difference that you observe in this line is printf. It contains, everyone, can you see this? So you can see this percentage d. So printf in a double inverted comma, then percentage d. This is the percentage or modulo symbol, then d, and then again double inverted comma, then a comma, and then a. Fine. So basically, this percentage d is a access specifier. So if you remember, while I was explaining the printf statement in our program, I was saying that it takes argument a sequence of characters in C. Fine. Now you want to print something that is not a character. Then how do you pass that argument as input to this? So you define the format specifier as a character in a string sequence of characters to the printf function that is defined by this percentage d, which says that I am going to print some integer value, some decimal, and then pass that decimal, comma followed by the decimal that you are going to pass, and then you return 0. Fine. So this is the percentage d, which is the format specifier for C, for decimals in C, for basically integers in C. So anyone, do you have any doubt with that? Now, let's see. What will be the output of this following program? Anyone? Can you tell me? Yeah, great. Most of you are able to answer. The answer is Option D, com compilation error. Anyone, can you tell me why there is some compilation error? I am saying that the answer is correct, but why this? So 9 is not correct, and we'll be looking at this, why this is happening. Yeah, so someone has answered that A is not declared. That's correct. Correctly, that's correct. So to give a more brief idea on what is happening, so C is a typed language. What does this mean? Meaning that you need that while declaring a variable in C, you need to specify the data type that will be stored in that variable. Fine. C is a typed language, and this means any variable. So basically, what are variables? Variables are tokens in C that are useful for storing some values. You want to store some value into the variable. For example, in mathematics, we say, let us say x equals to 10 and let's say y equals to 20. Then what is the value of x plus y? So in mathematics, in when you do in high school mathematics, you say when you get acquainted with this um, what was algebra, then you say x equals to 10, y equals to 20, what are these values, and you solve the simultaneous equation. So basically that x is a variable that holds an integer value or a decimal value. Fine. Similarly, in programming languages, we use variables to store these values. And in C is a time special class of belongs to a class of languages that are typed. So what are typed languages? In typed languages, whenever you are defining a variable, you have to give the data type, specify the data type of that variable. So what by data type, what we mean by data type, we are saying that this variable will contain values of belonging to this data type. What can be the data types? They can be integer, they can be floats for representing fractional numbers, and then you can be using characters for storing characters, for example ABCD, and then it can be a string, which is a sequence of characters, or yeah, in English we call them words. Fine. So these are the data types, some data types that you can use to store in C. And the primitive ones are integer, float, and character. Fine. And double also. So if you have any doubts, please type in the chat box. So I hope by now you are able to get what is the issue in this program. So basically I am declaring a variable and assigning a value of 9 to it. But the issue is the data type is not defined here. So basically I'm not defining the giving any data type to the variable A. Fine. Everyone, do you understand the error here? So that is why the program will give an compilation error. So the correct version would be int a equals to 9. So if I write here int a equals to 9, so this is the correct version, then the correct answer would have been A. Fine, everyone. So everyone, you must be seeing that I'm using this double front slashes to write something in English after the program. So these double front slashes are used to define comments in the program in C programming language. And the comments are the statements that are ignored by the compiler. Fine. So why you want to ignore something? I want to want the compiler to ignore some statements because I want to write something in human understandable language that everyone can understand. So like here I'm using double front slash to write a comment that the data type is not defined here, so that every one of you is able to understand the meaning why this statement is incorrect. Fine. So basically, someone is asking if int is not used here, how would the program have taken it? So it would have given this compilation error, which is the correct answer for this program. this question. So someone is asking, describe the code. So let me write the correct code and then explain it to you guys. Let us include our standard IO library for the standard input output functions. Then define the main function, and yeah, these are the basic requirements. Now let's say I want to create a variable named a and I want it to store a value 9. So what I would say in C programming language, I will write the type of the variable that I'm going to use. So I'm going to create a variable that stores the values of type integer. So I'll be using the int token to define the data type. So int is a keyword, predefined keyword used in the C programming language to declare integer data variables. Fine. So int a and I want to assign the value 9 to it. So I can use the assignment operator equals to assign the value 9 to the variable a. So everyone, are you familiar with this assignment operator also? And assigning value 9 to 8 using the operator. So basically assignment operator is used to assign values from the right hand side to the left hand side variable. Fine. Now what I want to do, I want to print the values and return the program. So I will be using printf statement. We all know that the printf statement uses sequence of characters. If you want to print any other data type, you have to provide the format specifier, and format specifier for integer is %d. And then I can pass the value of the variable a, and our program is done. Fine, everyone. Someone's saying, what is the difference between void main and int main? So basically void main says that the main function is not returning anything. Void is a data type that is used associated with nothing. So basically if you want to return nothing, you can use void. So no, you can't write only main because you have to provide a return type. Then someone is asking, mm, what is the usage of this hashtag character? So basically hashtag, these are preprocessor directives that tells the compiler to include the libraries first and then start compilation of the program. So basically that's why I'm using hashtag include stdio.h to include the library printf for now. So it can be used to it includes all the libraries present in the function uh, in the library stdio.h. Fine. Someone is asking why void main is not working in some systems. This might be related. This is some issue related to the GCC compiler. So some of the when if you're not using the GCC compile different between, so there should be some issue between issue with the compiler that I'm not familiar with. So yeah, for now you can just use int main. Fine. So let's compile this program. So GCC p4.c and the output should be p4. Let's run the program and you can see our program is printing 9. Everyone, can you see this? So someone is saying there is some issue with using void main. Let's see if the issue is there. The best way to understand these things is simply experiment with this thing. So yeah, I can compile and run the program. So you can see I'm using the standard GCC compiler. So I am able to use I am able to compile the program with using a void main. Fine. So the main function has no return type, so void main, and there is no return statement. Fine. So this program also works. So some of you might be seeing that void main doesn't work, it is the issue of your compiler that you are using. If you're using the void statement as the return type, then you don't need to return anything. Void basically means you are returning nothing. Fine. Someone is saying in compiling, why you wrote dot front slash p4. So basically, whenever you compile this file, you an executable file is created. And while compiling, I already said that GCC, the input file is p4.c and the output should name is p4. So when you do this, you will see that there is an executable created named p4. Now you want to run this executable. So the way to run these executables in Unix or Linux terminals is dot front slash and then the executable name, which is p4 here. Fine, everyone. Someone is asking what is the difference between get ch and return. Return is used to return some values from a function usually, and then get ch is used to get character from the input stream. Fine. So let's move on to the next question. Anyone, do you have any issues? Should I proceed with the next question? Great. So again, another function. What is the output of this function? So everyone, are you familiar with this prepositional directives? So I just want to make sure that every one of you is familiar with this term here. Hmm, hmm. Why fourth error? Fourth question is error. So what you want to explain? Yeah, fine. So if someone has any problems in question 4, I'll be discussing after the end of the session or maybe in the next lecture, tutorial session. Let's get back to our work. So what are these so what are these hashtag define I am defining here? So I am this hashtag define statement says that I'm defining something. Fine. So these are called preprocessor directives. No? Hmm, fine. So yeah, let's get to the next thing. Macros.c. So I'm explaining this why there was a weird way of defining something. So that is something that we haven't encountered. So most of you should be familiar with it if you have gone through the video lectures. If you haven't, I'm explaining it here. So there are something known as macros in C. So the first thing is we all know preprocessor directive. Preprocessor directives follow. What are these? These are statements followed by hashtag in C. Fine. So for example, this is a directive that says include the library stdio.h, include the header file stdio.h before compiling the program. Then you can also use these directives to define certain macros. So what are macros? Macros are statements that are defined using the directive hashtag define, then macro name, and then some operation. Fine. So let's see what does this mean. So basically now, now let's say we use the macro defined above in any line in our code. It replaces the macro position with the associated patient. Fine, everyone. So so this is how macros work. So basically you write some macro, some string. So basically macro, what is a macro? Macros are used to define some code blocks, code sections that can be reused again and again in your program. Fine. How do you define them? The syntax is hashtag define. Then let's say I am creating a macro named as that takes in an input x and returns x. That takes into x and y and returns x plus y. Fine. So this is how you define macros. So basically macro name here it is s followed by a argument block which is comprising of small brackets, and in that brackets you define two arguments x and y, and what it does is it is returning the values sum of x plus y. Now let's say what I do. Let's say I write I am declaring a variable a, and then I'm assigning the value of variable a as the macro as called over the values 1 comma 2. Now when you check the value stored in the variable a, you will see that the value will be the sum of these two values, and we will be looking at why this happens. So you can see the output is 3. Everyone, can you see this output? Everyone, can you see this output? Yeah, great. So basically, this is the task of macros in C. So what are the macros? Whenever you use those statements in any of section of your program, it will replace that statement with the operation associated with the macro. So here the operation was summing the two values, which were the input arguments to the macro. Fine. Everyone. So let's get back to our problem 5. So someone is asking, can you solve the fourth question? I will solve it after the session ends. Fine. So now I'm defining a macro named fun. Its name is fun, and the input argument is x. And what it does is whenever you call this macro f1 of any given input, it multiplies the value with itself and returns that value. Fine. Now in the main function int main, in the function block, I'm declaring a variable float I, and then I'm using the assignment operator equals to 64.0, which is a floating point value, divided by fun of 2. So let's break down this operation. Fine, everyone. So everyone, are you familiar with this division operator in C? So division is the division operator. So it returns a fraction. If you are dividing floating point values, if you are using integers, it returns the quotient. Fine, great. So now what I'm saying, 64. I'm using the assignment operator equals to assign the value 64.0 divided by fun of 2. Now what is fun of 2? Basically fun of 2 equals to 2 into 2, which is equals to 4. Fine, everyone. Do you understand this? How I'm using the macro here? Great. So fun of 2 is 4. Now what you do? You divide I equals to 64 by 4. What is the value of 64 by 4? I, which is 16. So now I'm printing the value printf. Now here you are seeing another access specifier 0.2f. Everyone, can you observe this? New access specifier 0.2f. The float format specifier. Point 2 say tells the compiler to print values up to 2 decimal places. Fine, everyone. So basically, this point 2 tells the compiler to print the values up to 2 decimal places. That is the usage of this point 2 f format specifier in C. Fine. So now our output is 16. So what should it print? Anyone, can you tell me? So what will be the output of this program? Anyone? So it is option D, 16.00. Why two zeros after that? This is because we have passed and format specifier percentage point 2f. So it is a floating data type, and you have to print values up to 2 decimal places. Fine. Everyone, do you have any doubts? And how we were dealing with this macros, and then how I explained this per access specifier to you guys. Fine. So someone is asking, can you show the fifth question? So this is the fifth question. And someone is saying there is a usage of return 0. So the answer should be 0, right? So basically return 0 is returning 0 to the function that has called the main function. What I am interested right now is what the output screen would be seeing, and it will be showing this printf statement, everything that is output by this printf function. Fine. Everyone? Yeah, so defining macros is also defining preprocessor directive. That's why I use hashtag define. So someone is saying define fun x not understandable. So basically, if majority of you have this doubt, then I can reiterate this. Otherwise, I will proceed with the next question. You can go back to the video lecture shared by the NPTEL team, and then you can go there and understand this. Fine. So this topic, all the topics that I'm covering here have already been covered in your weekly sessions. So yeah. So in short, what this is doing, hashtag define fun x is specifically saying whenever in the program you obtain something, a statement that says fun and some input to it, you have to simply replace that part with x into x. So basically, when you talk about fun2, it replaces this part with 4. Now, the next thing someone is asking why I'm using percentage 2f. Basically, point 2f is saying it's a format specifier for float, and point 2 is saying that saying that the program has to print the values up to 2 decimal points. I don't understand why 0 is written in return 0 when it returns an integer value according to the code and int main. So basically, it's not important for us right now why 0 is there. You can also write return 1. It works. You will see that it works. So again, someone is asking why there is the use of point 2f. So basically, f is the format specifier for floating, and um, then point 2 is saying that you have to print two values after decimal. So yeah, if you can use point 3f also here. So this will print 16.0.0.0. 16.000, sorry. So it will be 16.000. Fine. So you can use point 3 also. So now I believe I have answered all of your questions, more than one. So let's move on to the next question. So let's go to the ahead and solve the next question. So what's the problem? So the following C program swaps the value of two numbers without using any third variable. What will be the correct option to fill up the blank? If you have attended the previous tutorial session that I took, I solved this problem for you guys. So I hope you will be able to solve this problem with me right now. So you have to fill in this blank line. Fine. This is a program that swaps two values. So let's see what it says. So using the precursor directive hashtag including the standard IO library stdio.h. And then I am declaring the main function int main. Then inside the main, I am writing something. I am declaring a variable int. So a, assigning the value 2 to it, and then followed by a comma, and then initializing a variable b with a value 3 here. Fine. So what it says, a stores value 2 and b stores value 3. Fine, everyone. So a stores the value 2 and b stores the value 3. And this type of declaration is also allowed in C, where you can declare multiple variables in a single line. Just make sure that you have written the data type, and then you can assign the values also as you declare them. Then now you are printing the values. Printf, the values before swapping is a equals to percentage d, comma b equals to percentage d. Again, you are using the format specifier percentage d for integer, and then you are passing the values a and b here. So here you can see a way in which you can print multiple values using format specifiers in a C printf statement in a single line. Fine. So we are printing the values a and b together in this line. And then I have to write something. I have to do some operation here. So basically to do some in here that swaps the values. So what should we do here? Anyone? Can you tell me? Anyone? So yeah, someone has already answered this. So what you have to do, you have to assign the value a equals to a plus b, and yeah, a equals to a plus b. Then you have to give the value b equals to a minus b, and then equals to a minus b. Everyone, do you get this logic? Why this is correct? So I hope you understand this logic. I already explained this logic in the previous session, and still, if you want me to discuss this again, so the easiest way is to uh, the easiest way to understand this is solve this and you will get it. So basically, a equals to a plus b. So a equals to 2 plus 3, which is 5. Then b equals to a minus b. Now a contains 5, so 5 minus 3, which is 2. Then a equals to a minus b. So a contains 5 and b contains 2. So what is the value of a here? 3. What was the earlier values? A contained 2 and B contained 3. After this operation, A contains 3 and B contains 2. So you have successfully swapped the values. Fine. So which is the correct option? Option C. So option C is the option C. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts in this program? Great. So let's move forward. So I want you guys to solve this problem for now. For now. Fine. What will the output of this program? Again, we are using this standard, including this standard IO library. Then declaring the main function. Inside the main function, I am declaring two variables x and y, assigning the values 1 and 3 to Tim. Then t contains the value x contains the value y equals to t, and then you are printing the values of x and y. So anyone, can you guess what it is doing? So yeah, you can get to the answer. It's really easy. So t stores the value of x, which is 1. Then x stores the value of y, which is 3. Then again, y stores the value of t, which was 1. And now you are printing the values x comma y. So screen will show 3 comma 1. So option B is correct. Everyone knows this. So can anyone tell me what this function is doing, what this program is doing right now? Anyone? Great. Someone is saying a swapping value. So yeah, you are absolutely right. So what we are doing here is basically swapping the values stored in these two variables using a third variable. Fine. Great. Anyone, do you have any doubt in this program? So you know that most of these problems we solved in the previous session also using flowcharts. In this session, what I'm actually doing is solving these problems by writing programs in C programming language. So this is how you solve basic mathematical problems in the C programming language using the C programming language. Fine. Anyone, do you have if you have any doubts, please type in the chat box or we can proceed. So I guess no one has any doubts. So the correct answer, let me write the correct answer. So the next question is, when executed, the following code will print. Okay. And again, we are using including the standard IO library, hashtag include stdio.h. Then I am declaring the main function, and in the main function. So I hope I am not too fast. If I am going too fast, just type in the chat box, then I will slow down. Fine. So now when you declare the integer variable int and assign the value, name it sum, and you assign the value 3 plus 6 divided by 2 plus 6 multiplied by 2. So I hope you guys are familiar with this arithmetic operations. Everyone, are you familiar with these operators? So let's just one thing that you need to understand before proceeding. So C. Okay. So are you familiar with this operator precedence table, everyone? So by operator precedence, we mean if in a single line of code, multiple operators are present, then which operator will be executed first? So this is defined by the operator precedence table. For example, when you did mathematics in your class 3 and 4th, you were introduced to the concept of board mass. So where you were taught about how to solve problems that involved multiple summation, subtraction, multiplication, division, and of operations, even brackets. Fine. You remember that board Moss rule. So similar to that, in C programming language, there is a operator precedence table. So you can see the unary operations are having the most uh, highest precedence and so on. You can go onto this website and look at all these precedence table. The first thing is, as you go down the list, the operator precedence decreases. So basically, if an operator is present at a higher level than other operation, then that operator will be executed first. Now, in one line, for example, here where multiplication, division, and modulo operators are defined, highlighted in orange, you can see they are in the same line. Then what you do? If all these three operators come in the same line, then what you have to do? What precedent rule you have to follow? You have to follow the associativity defined here. So the associativity says left to right. So basically what this mean is, in the statement, whatever among these operators, whichever operator comes to the leftmost place has the highest operator precedence will be evaluated first, and then you move towards the right in that order. Fine. So these are two important things. One, you go from top to bottom, the precedence decreases. The operator at the top is evaluated first before being evaluated with the operator at the bottom. If multiple operators of the same precedence are present in a single line, then the associativity tells which of them will have the highest precedence. Now, among the arithmetic operators, the operators that we saw for our problem, we have plus, addition, subdivision, and multiplication operators. So let's see which one of them among these have the highest precedence. So among multiple arithmetic operators, addition and subtraction have less precedence than the multiplication, division, and modulo operators. Everyone, can you see this? So someone is saying, why is this associativity? So why some operators are right to left and left to right? So the reason is Hi everyone. Am I audible now? Anyone, please confirm. Great. So apologies for the interruption. There was some network issue on my side. So I hope my screen is visible. So let's go back to our program. So till now, I explained you guys what is the operator precedence. Everyone, do you understand the operator precedence now? Now, multiplication and division have higher precedence than addition operator. Fine, everyone. All of these follow left associativity. Fine, everyone. Am I audible? Please type in the chat box if I'm audible and you are understanding what I'm saying. Just type in the chat box. I want a confirmation. Because someone is saying not audible. Please type in the chat box. Don't show the thumbs up. So no one is typing in the chat box. I'm not sure if I'm audible. Hello. Yeah, there was some network issue. Great. So let's resume. So you know this, by now you know there is some operator precedence like Bodemas for C programming language, and you will be following this to solve this. So we know that this division and this multiplication operation has the highest operator precedence. So they will be evaluated first. And among them, the left one will be evaluated first. So first, let's evaluate this. What is the value of 6 divided by 2? 3 here. Then the second one will be this 6 multiplied by 2. Let's evaluate this operation. So 6 into 2, which is 12 here. And then finally, you sum up these values. So again, plus have the same operator precedence. So the associativity is left. So left one has the highest precedence. So this will be evaluated first. So what is 3 plus 3? 6 here. And then the remaining part will be evaluated, which is 6 plus 12, which is 18. So what is the answer? 18. Everyone, do you understand this? Anyone, do you have any doubts in this? Should we proceed? Great. So let's move further. So what is the need of associativity? Someone is saying, what is the need for associativity? So you can see in this example itself, there are multiple operators with same precedence. Let's say division and multiplication have the same precedence. Now, which operator to evaluate first? How would you know this? So associativity is required in that sense. The other thing is, so let's say, let's modify this problem a bit. Now, let's say you have this problem. If you don't have associativity, do you have a way to solve this problem without any ambiguities? Anyone? Anyone? Please type in the chat box the question I'm asking, especially the person who was asking what is the need for uh, associativity. I'm asking, can you solve this problem if there is no associativity? So basically, you can't, because now you have division and multiplication associated with each other. Now, if you do this operation first and then do this multiplication, then you will have some different answer. And if you do this multiplication first and do this division after that, then you will have some other issue. Are you getting this, everyone? So that's why we need this associativity. Great. Now, fine. Anyone, do you have any doubt in this problem or should I proceed further? Great. Let's move on to the next question. So write a C program to print hello world. So we have already done this, everyone. So do you want me to do this again? So already solved. So I hope by now everyone you will be able to write your own hello world program. If not, you can go back to the video tutorial, this session's recording, and then you can do this again. Fine. Great. So let's take a break for maybe a 5 minutes and then we can resume the session. Fine. So, hi everyone. Let's resume the session. Am I audible? Please confirm once. Great. So let's resume the session. Yeah. Write a C program. So now what we will be doing is we will be writing a few C programs from scratch. So till now, what we were doing is we were solving. We were okay. We were solving for the output of the given C programs. Now what we will be doing is we will be writing our own C programs for problems. Fine. So write a C program that takes a take username's first character and zip code as input and prints their values. So the question is how to get inputs from the user in a C program via keyboard. Fine. So how to get keyboard inputs in a C. So how to get keyboard inputs from the user in C program? Everyone, are you familiar with the concept of scanf? So basically, we saw that we at the top of every C program that we were writing, we were including some standard IO library stdio.h. Fine. Do you remember that? Now this library contained this printf function that basically prints the value passed to it, passed an argument to this input. Similarly, there is another function scanf. So scanf use scanf. So scanf is used to take inputs from the user keyboard. Fine. So let's see how to use this scanf function first, and then we'll be solving this problem. So let's create a file input.c. So since we need to use the scanf and printf functions, uh, let's include stdio.h. And then I'll go to our main function. Let's create it void. So someone was saying that void doesn't work. It doesn't work because it depends upon your compiler. So if you are using standard GCC, then there should be no issues. Fine. Now, let's say we have a integer value zip and I want to take input from the user. We want to take keyboard input from the user and store in, into the variable zip. How to do this? So we have scanf to the rescue. Scanf allows us to take user input from the keyboard. So let's look at the syntax of scanf. So you declare the function scanf, and inside the function, you again have to specify the access format specifier, like what type of input you are going to take. So let's say I am talking about integer values, int zip. So I'll be using integer data type, which is %d. So you have to define this access specifier here also, format specifier here also. Now the next thing is followed by a comma, and then you can pass in the variable zip. So the syntax is similar to the printf function. Now there is a difference. There is one difference that you have to use this ampersand symbol before the variable in which you are trying to get the input. Everyone, do you get the difference between scanf and printf syntax here? So first of all, the name is different, scanf. The other thing is I am using the access format square, that is true. And then I am passing the variable to which the value will be stored, but I'm using this ampersand symbol here. Everyone, can you follow this? Please confirm by typing in the chat box. Great. So now why this ampersand symbol or and symbol is required here? This ampersand symbol says that the value, that is the integer value that is specified with this format specified percentage d, has that has been inputted from the user, has to be stored in the memory location specific of the variable zip. So basically understand that this and is an operator that points, that gives us the memory location at which the variable zip is storing values. Fine. So for example, let's look at some examples. So let's say I'm creating a variable int z. So what the compiler is doing? So basically, let's say this is your computer memory. So this is your computer memory. Fine. So what the compiler will do is, let's take some eraser. So what the compiler will do, it will create a memory location. So let's say 1000. And this memory location will be used for storing the values of variable z. Fine. Let's say if I say z equals to 10 here, z equals to 10 here. So 10 will be stored at this memory location. Fine. So basically this is how a variable is created and the value is stored in the computer memory. The next thing is, what does this ampersand do? This ampersand operator do? So we call this the ampersand operator. So what it does? So it returns the memory location of the variable that is followed by it. So let's say if I say and z, this and z, the value of and z is basically equals to 1000. So it gives the memory address location. So it basically points to this location 1000 where the value is stored. Fine. So this is this ampersand operator. So whenever you call this statement scanf, and then you give in the access specifier percentage d, and then you pass ampersand z, it tells the compiler to take in the input of integer from the user, store that value at this memory location. Fine. So this is how scanf works. This is how ampersand works. Fine. So let's go ahead and finish our program. So now uh, let's let's give a beautiful prompt to the user. So printf, please enter the zip code, your city's zip code \n. Fine. Now the user will give some input. Now we can simply print the value stored. The value we saved in the variable zip is percentage d. So we are specifying that we are going to print the value of percentage d, change the line, and then pass in the variable zip. Fine. Everyone, do you understand this program? Should I repeat? Should I repeat this, everyone? Hello, am I audible? Am I audible? Anyone please confirm? Great. So now what I have done, I have given the user an prompt that please enter your city zip code. And then I'm scanning some integer value. I'm passing the address of the variable zip where the value has to be stored. And then finally, I'm printing the value stored in the variable zip. Fine. Let's go ahead and compile our program. GCC input.c hyphen output is input. Oh, the syntax was wrong. Sorry. So I have to use the printf statement, not print. There is no print statement in C++, basically. Now let's go ahead and run our program. So now you can see on the terminal window, you can see it says, please enter your city's zip code. Everyone, can you find this line on my screen? So everyone, please follow this. Now let me enter my city's zip code, which is 110016. Fine, this is an integer. Now you can see the computer is printing the value we received in the variable zip is 110016. Everyone, can you follow this? Anyone? Do you have any doubts? So we were successful in prompting the user with a string that says, please enter your city's zip code. The user has entered the zip code 110016 from their keyboard. And then we can see the variable zip contains the value 110016, and we were successful in storing the input. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts in this? Anyone? Please type in the chat box. So there is one another experiment that I'm doing here for you guys. I'm just showing the output of ampersand. So it is basically a point. These are called pointers, and the X format specifier is ls, percentage ls. Fine. So let us input our string in integer. Fine. Okay, there is some issue with printing that line. Acha, percentage P is there. Sorry. So you can see the memory of this div is some hexadecimal value that we can't understand right now. We will have to convert it to decimal. So this specifically specifies the location of the variable, memory location. Fine. Anyone, do you have any doubts? Please type in the chat box. Let me answer some of your quick queries. Someone is saying why there is this percentage n after this backslash n after this percentage d. Anyone, the student that had this issue, please pay attention. So this backslash n is basically a escape character that says change the line. That's it. So after printing this value, you have to change the line. That's why percentage n is here. Someone is asking why I was using ls. So it was not ls. It has to be percentage p. Percentage p is a format specifier for pointers which are used to store memory locations in C. And why did I write and zip in print statement? So I was trying to show you guys that this ampersand operator is doing some operation over the zip variable, which is returning the memory location at which the value stored in the variable zip is stored, and I'm printing that value for you guys. That's it. Anyone, do you have any doubts? On INT also, it depends if about the ranges. Basically, you have to look into the ranges. So basically, integer does works for 110016. So I don't need long INT here. Fine. Anyone else? Do you have any doubt? Now let's get back to your problems. So someone had doubts in question number 4. So yeah. So what will be the output of the program given below? Hashtag include stdio.s. So basically I'm including the standard IO library. Then I'm declaring the main function, and in the main function, I'm assigning a value 9 to the variable a, then printing the value associated with the variable a and giving the format specifier percentage %d, meaning it is an integer variable. Now I'm returning the value 0. What should be the output of this program? And I said that this will give an compilation error. And now do you get it? Why this will give a compilation error? SKR Rishi, do you get this? So basically you haven't given the type, specified the type for the variable a. So the correct would be INTA. So basically I said that we know that C is a typed language. So basically for each variable, you have to specify the type before it whenever you are declaring a variable. So in this, you haven't, the type of the variable a was not declared. That's why it was giving a compilation error. Did it resolve your issue? Great. Anyone else? Do you have any doubts in any of the problems? Please type in the chat box. So someone is asking which app is best for C programming. I'm not sure about that. If you are using a Ubuntu or Linux or Unix systems, you can use the pre-installed GCC compiler, which is the standard. And then if you are using Windows machine, then you might need to look into the main GW setup. Yeah. Let's go to the question number 6. Someone is asking sixth question, please. So this is the sixth question. So we need to write a program that is able to swap two values stored into variables without using a third variable. So let's get straight forward to the logic. So what was the logic? We need to store the value, sum of both values in the variable A, and then in the variable B, what I have to do? I have to subtract the value of stored in the variable B from the sum. And then for the variable A, I have to subtract the value of variable B from the sum. So when you do this arithmetic, you see that the values will be swapped. So can you just check it for once? Because it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing new to explain here. Saurav? Did I answer your question? So basically you just solve this on your paper and you will see that it will give you the correct answer. There's nothing big here. So basically you are adding up both the values in a variable and then subtracting the others. Now someone is saying we did not mention INT in the question number 4. So yeah, this is the compilation error. That's why this program will give a compilation error. Give a compilation error. Someone is asking, explain the ampersand zip again. So basically ampersand operator is used to return the address of the variable. So basically what this ampersand does, so whenever I call ampersand z, so whenever a variable z is created in the memory, some memory location is associated with it. For example, here 10,000 memory location is created. Now the ampersand operator provides us a pointer which gives an access to this memory location. Fine. Now someone is saying question number 5, 7, and 8. Let's go back to these problems. Question number 5, what is the output? So do you understand now? Do you understand the concept of macro, Priyadarshini? So do you understand the concept of macro? So basically, macros are preprocessor directors in C, where whenever you want to write some code snippet that has been reused again and again in C programming language, you can define these macros. So whenever I see a macro, fun followed by opening small bracket and some input into it and closing bracket, and then what you have to do, you have to replace that position with x into x. So for example, fun2 means 2 into 2 equals to 4. Replace this part with value 4. That's it. Now, when you solve this problem, you get the answer. Fine, Priyadarshini, does this answer your question? And still, if you're not able to understand, please go back to the video lectures and then try to understand macros again. Fine. Now, let's go to question number 7. So, I mean, this is straightforward. Who has doubt in question number 7? So I will share this PDF with you. Please solve this again and go ahead with this tutorial. You will get the answer. Then question number 8. So basically, it's requires looking at the precedence table. You apply the you apply the precedence rules in C as you apply the Bodmas in mathematics. You will get the answer. Fine. Now, someone is saying so we can use ampersand in printf as well as scanf. So basically in printf I have used ampersand here to show you the output of this operation. So what does this ampersand zip does? So you see that it gives a pointer that refers to the memory location. That's it. Fine. Whereas the ampersand operator is necessary in the scanf because it is asking, the function is asking for the memory location to which the memory input value has to be stored. Someone is saying how to check the location of the variable. Use the ampersand operator, similar to the way I have used it here. Fine. Anyone, do you have any other doubts? Still, if you have any doubts, please go back to the video like the tutorial that I will be recording of this session, and you will be able to understand most of the queries. And still, if you are unable to understand something, please you can ask me in the next tutorial session. Fine. There are some other practice problems that you can solve. Uh, this will be shared in the PDF that I will be sharing with you guys. Fine. Fine. Yeah. So time's almost up. Yes. Varun, you are saying that you are given some program. You are saying if you write printf %d. So yeah, you are correct. So if you are saying printf %d, comma, zip. So what you are doing is the value stored in the variable zip. Now if you say printf %p, which is the access specifier for pointers, and you use ampersand here, then what you are doing, you are printing the value stored in the value of the memory location, the variable which stores data. Fine. So yeah, Varun, you are right. So the document will be shared to you guys by the NPTEL team. I don't know the way they are broadcasting it, but I will share it with them. So don't worry about that. Fine. Someone is saying, what if we write percentage D instead of percentage P? So basically format specifier, when you go back to the lectures and understand about the format specifier, you will know you have to use the exact same format specifier that specifies for that particular given data type. Fine. Any other queries will be entertained in the next tutorial sessions. Thank you all for today. So you may leave the session now.